Let's dive right into this explainer. Look over at that snake plant sitting on your desk. Usually it's just a target for dust, right? Just a quiet companion you probably ignore for weeks at a time. Well, today, we're going to completely flip the script on how you see it. Imagine, instead of a peaceful little pot by your window, a prehistoric landscape absolutely getting shredded by a massive asteroid. We're talking volcanic ash completely choking out the sky. What you're actually looking at on your windowsill isn't just a plant. It's a literal masterclass in survival, hiding right there in plain sight.
To really put this into perspective, think back to 66 million years ago. A 6-mile-wide asteroid slammed right into the Yucatan Peninsula. That one impact wiped out 75% of all living species on Earth. I mean, it completely erased the dinosaurs. And here's the absolutely wild part. The ancestors of that exact common houseplant we were just talking about, they didn't just survive this apocalyptic event. They basically just sat there and watched the volcanic ash settle.
So that brings us to the million-dollar question, doesn't it? How exactly did a simple houseplant cheat the end of the world? It made it through the Permian-Triassic Great Dying. It survived massive ice ages that literally froze entire continents. This organism just flat-out refused to die. And now, it's just chilling inside your bedroom. To figure this out, we need to uncover the incredible biological secrets that let this lineage shrug off global catastrophes that wiped out pretty much everything else.
To really wrap our heads around this immortality, we've got to travel way back, like over 400 million years back to the Devonian period. We're talking about a time long before flowers existed, long before grass even covered the Earth. These ancient ancestors powered through 5 global mass extinctions, all the way from the Devonian, straight through that asteroid impact 66 million years ago, right down to the recent ice ages. They didn't just scrape by, they actively adapted during deep history to conquer an unbelievably brutal planet.
Okay, so let's get into Part 1, the Apex Survivors, the Devonian Biological Armor.
When we look at paleobotanical records from the Devonian era, we see these early vascular plants trying to conquer a brutally hot, radiation-soaked wasteland, and their primary secret weapon, structural armor. If you feel a modern snake plant, its surface is coated in this hyper-dense, specialized waxy cuticle, while the younger, flashier plant species literally evaporated into dust during sudden global spikes in carbon and heat. These ancient lineages went into full lockdown. They built an absolute impenetrable wall to keep all their moisture inside.
Moving on to Part 2, the Night Shift, the Alien Mechanics of Breathing. Holding on to water wasn't quite enough, though. To survive a highly unpredictable planet, they had to completely reinvent how they breathe. If we zoom all the way down to the microscopic level, we find stomata. Basically, these are microscopic leaf pores that plants open up to take in carbon dioxide. Now, standard plants open these stomata during the daytime, but if you try doing that in a scorched, brutal environment, it's a literal death sentence. The scorching sun instantly evaporates all their internal moisture at the exact second those pores open.
So while standard plants are out there opening their stomata during the day and risking instant evaporation, our survivors perfected a totally radical alternative. They keep their stomata tightly sealed shut during the day. They essentially sleep through the blistering heat with their pores locked tight and only open up in the cool, safe darkness. It's a brilliant workaround to avoid just evaporating into dust.
And that brings us to an absolute scientific marvel: CAM photosynthesis, or crassulation acid metabolism. Honestly, I love this part. It's a literal genetic hack. In the dead of night, they wake up, open those pores in the cool air, scoop up all the carbon dioxide, and safely store it away as malic acid until the sun comes back up. This exact biological mechanism is what allowed them to survive decades of choked-out volcanic winter. And, funnily enough, it's the exact same reason your ZZ plant or your snake plant stays alive when you completely forget to water it for a month. You're basically watching an ancient apocalyptic survival protocol play out right in your living room.
All right, let's look at Part 3, the underground clone, the subterranean vault.
If you were to unearth the soil and look at the root system, kind of like unearthing a major archaeological discovery, you'd find this incredible 3-step fail-safe protocol. First up, the plant is constantly actively monitoring the surface for disaster. The moment it detects a surface apocalypse, boom, it moves to step 2. It withdraws all of its energy deep underground into these thick, potato-like subterranean stems called rhizomes. These rhizomes go into complete stasis, packed tight with pure starches and dormant stem cells. Finally, step 3. Once the coast is clear and the danger is past, they use those stored cells to completely clone themselves. They literally wait out the end of the world in a bunker of their own making.
It is so effective that a single broken leaf fragment contains enough localized genetic power to fully regenerate a brand new root system. Botanists have proven this time and time again in the lab. They don't just grow back, they literally clone themselves right from the ashes. And that brings this epic, deep history survival story straight into those little home propagation jars sitting on your kitchen counter.
I want you to really let this sink in. You aren't looking at home decor. You are looking at a masterclass in evolutionary warfare. Seriously, the next time you glance over at that green companion on your shelf, remember that you are looking at an organism that outlived the greatest apex predators this planet has ever seen. It's absolutely not just some fragile decoration.
But here's the crazy thing. Surviving mass extinctions was really only step one. Because once the planet finally stabilized, these apex survivors realized they didn't have to just tolerate their environment anymore. They could actually control it. Which leaves us with this thought. Are your plants using their biology to subtly manipulate your brain? I mean, think about it. They've engineered themselves to be so perfectly adapted, so low maintenance, and so visually pleasing that we now happily dedicate our own resources to keeping them safe and cozy inside our climate-controlled homes. Kind of makes you wonder who actually domesticated who, doesn't it?